Have you ever looked at her, really looked, and felt the pull, not of love, not of lust, but of something deeper, older, a tension between you and something you cannot name, something that speaks without speaking, that smiles without warmth, that watches you, not like a lover, but like a mirror. You thought she was soft, but what if softness was only the surface? What if behind the warmth was strategy? What if behind the eyes was instinct? Brother, she doesn't want you to hear this. Not because she's evil, but because once you understand it, you're no longer under her spell. Most men live in a trance. They mistake attention for affection. They mistake chemistry for compatibility. They mistake tests for tenderness. But a woman doesn't move through the world the way you do. You seek truth. She seeks alignment. You search for meaning. She searches for security. And these two paths cross, entangle, even dance. But they are not the same. You must hear this. She does not love you the way you love her. She does not need you the way you need her. And when you forget that, you fall. She's not looking for your soul. She's looking for your frame, your presence, your direction. Not because she's shallow, but because it's how she survives. You think she wants your heart? A number. She wants to know if your heart can lead, if it can hold, if it can be followed. If not, she will smile, but not stay. The truth is, women don't want weak men, but they create them, not by force, by testing. Every silence is a test. Every mood swing, a test. Every cold shoulder, every sweet smile laced with contradiction. It's all a test. She doesn't want to control you. She wants to feel that she can't. That's the paradox no one told you. She wants to push and find resistance. She wants to provoke and find presence. She wants to speak chaos and find you still grounded in order. She doesn't want to lead. She wants to surrender, but only to a man who won't. And when you chase her validation, when you orbit her moods, when you lose yourself in her emotional weather, you fail the test. Not because she's cruel, but because you abandoned the role nature gave you, the one who governs, not submits. The truth is, she's not even fully aware of it. Her testing is subconscious, instinctual. Just like a storm doesn't decide to rain, she doesn't plan these trials. She's watching your soul without even knowing she is. She doesn't want to break you, but she will if you let her. The worst part, she'll lose respect for you while she's breaking you. And the tragedy is, you'll blame her. You'll call her names. Manipulative, disloyal, disrespectful. But it wasn't disrespect. It was clarity. You showed her who you are, and she simply believed you. You must understand this. She's not your enemy. She's not your savior. She's the mirror of your discipline or the echo of your downfall. And you can't fake strength with her. She sees through the mask. She feels your neediness before you speak. She notices your hesitation before you act. And when she sees you uncertain of yourself, she becomes uncertain of you. You think flowers will fix it. You think nice words will win her back. But she's not waiting for sweetness. She's waiting for sovereignty. There's a part of you she watches without words. Not your charm, not your wallet, not your muscles, but your spine. Are you grounded when she storms? Are you silent when she nags? Are you calm when she provokes? Not passive, calm, not cold, centered. Because the man who reacts is the man she controls, but the man who responds. He rules not over her, but over himself, and that is what she bows to. Listen to me. She wants to surrender, but only to a king. Not a boy playing dress-up in a throne made of ego. She doesn't want you to hear this because the moment you do, she can't manipulate you with tears anymore. She can't shake your foundation with drama. She can't confuse you with beauty. You become immune, not to her femininity, but to your own blindness. This is what makes a man dangerous, not to women, but to the lies he once lived by. The lie that love means pleasing her. The lie that approval is earned through obedience. The lie that to keep her, You must become less of yourself. Brother, no. To keep her, you must become more of yourself. More clear, more present, more unmoved. Do not let her moods define your mission. Do not let her body distract you from your vision. Do not let her validation become your source of power. Because if you do, she owns you, and she won't even want what she owns. You think she left because you weren't enough. But the truth is, you were never you to begin with. You were a reflection of her approval, a puppet dancing for scraps of affection. She doesn't want that. She wants the man who can walk away, not to threaten her, but because he doesn't need her to feel whole. She wants to feel chosen, not chased. She wants to submit, not command. She wants to test you and find out that she can't break you. So hear this, because she hopes you don't. She only becomes truly feminine in the presence of your unwavering masculine. She only softens when you harden your boundaries. She only stays when she feels that leaving won't move you. You're not here to impress her. You're here to express the mission that chose you. If she joins you, good. If not, you continue. That's what she truly respects. That's what makes her feel like a woman. And if you don't believe me, look around. Look at the men who gave everything to please her and lost her anyway. Look at the men who ignored the truth, who worshipped her, who sacrificed themselves, and were left with ashes. This is not hate. This is not bitterness. This is awakening. She doesn't want you to hear this, because if you do, you stop being her puppet. You stop being the boy who chases comfort, and you start becoming the man who commands reality. She will test you. She will pull away. She will challenge your throne. But if you remain grounded, focused, unafraid, she will feel something she can't explain. Safety, desire, surrender, not because you forced her, but because you finally remembered who you are. Not her follower, not her fixer, not her fool, but her mirror and her measure. And when she looks at you and sees a man unmoved by beauty, unbroken by emotion, and unshaken by her storm, she will know she cannot control you, and so, for the first time, she can trust you. But even after you've stood your ground, even after you've passed her tests, something else waits, something quieter, something harder. The question no one asks, now what? Because clarity is not the end, it is the beginning. Once you've seen the illusion, you must choose to live outside of it every day. That means walking alone when company would be easier. That means holding your word when silence would cost you nothing. That means bearing the weight of your own conscience like a crown no one else can see. This is not glory, this is grit. And here is the secret no one wants to admit. Most men do not fear losing her. They fear meeting themselves in the mirror of her absence. They fear the quiet. They fear the stillness where there is no more performance, no more seduction, no more chase. Just you and your choices and the echo of what you've become. Socrates said the unexamined life is not worth living, but he didn't say the examined life would be easy. It's not. It's a kind of dying to your need to be understood, dying to your hunger for applause, dying to every part of you that once bent to earn what was never yours to begin with. Because a man does not own himself until he has buried every lie he told to survive. You told her you were okay. You told her you didn't mind. You told her she completed you, but the truth is, you feared that without her eyes on you, you'd disappear. And maybe you did. But now, you build, brick by brick, not for her, not for them, but for the man who stares back in that mirror. He has no time for fantasy. He has no need for rescue. He does not kneel to lust or loneliness. He walks with something older, something deeper, something like God. And here is where most men break, not when she leaves, but when they realize she was never meant to stay. She was never the destination. She was the door to grief, to growth, to greatness. The feminine is not your enemy, but she is not your savior either. She is the crucible. And you, if you choose it, are the flame that survives the burn. They told you to be a nice guy. They told you to never upset her. They told you that love means sacrifice. And you sacrificed your truth, your spine, your soul, and she left anyway, because what she really wanted was a man with a sword, not to harm her but to hold the line. She wanted to know that when the storm came, you would not hand her the map and say, "Where do we go?" but draw your own and say, "Follow me if you can." The truth is, she doesn't want to lead. She wants to feel what it's like to rest in the gravity of a man who knows where he's going. And no, that doesn't mean domination. It means direction. It means you stop looking to her for instructions and start living by conviction. And when you do that, something changes, not just in her, but in you. You become rare, you become dangerous, because you no longer play the game. You no longer flinch when she tests you. You no longer shrink when she withdraws. You are not here to chase, to plead, to impress. You are here to stand. And a standing man, one who does not apologize for his mission, one who does not contort himself for approval, one who does not collapse under the pressure of beauty, becomes a force, not of domination, but of order. Because where the feminine is storm, the masculine is structure. Where she is wave, you are shoreline. Where she is fire, you are the hearth that gives it purpose. She doesn't want you to become her. She wants to trust you, but she can't trust a man who is constantly rewriting himself to keep her close. That is not love. That is cowardice in costume. So stop asking what she wants. Start asking who you are. Are you the kind of man who seeks ease or the kind who embraces the weight? Are you the kind of man who bends in the wind or the kind who holds his form through fire? Are you the kind of man who needs her love to feel whole or the kind who brings wholeness to love? If it's the latter, then understand. Your solitude is sacred. Your silence is a weapon. Your discipline is a map. And she will feel it. Not in your words, in your presence. You don't need to explain yourself to her. You don't need to convince her. You need only become undeniable. Let them say you're too intense. Let them say you're too grounded, too focused, too stoic. Good. Let them misunderstand you. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be forged. Socrates chose death rather than betray truth. Will you choose discomfort rather than betray your essence? Will you say no to easy pleasure so you can say yes to unshakable peace? Because the highest love is not given to boys who whimper at rejection. It is granted to men who stand, even when it costs them everything. She will come and go. That's her nature. But you, brother, must become the mountain. Because only mountains command respect. Only mountains are climbed. Only mountains remain. Now rise, in silence, in sovereignty, in the kind of stillness that can split the world in half. Rise not for her attention, but for your return. The return to the man you were always meant to be. Not the man who waits for her validation. Not the man who crumbles when her attention shifts. But the man who walks forward because forward is the only direction he knows. See, her silence used to scare you. Her indifference felt like death. You thought that if she pulled away, it meant something was wrong with you. That if she stopped choosing you, it meant you were no longer worth choosing. But now you understand. Her distance isn't a judgment, it's a mirror. And you finally stopped trying to fix the reflection. You fix the man, you fix the foundation, because you know something she may never admit. A woman will lose respect for the man who chases her moods, like a beggar chasing coins in the wind. But she will soften, genuinely, fully, beautifully, for the man who commands his own weather. The man who doesn't move when she storms. The man who stands in the rain, unmoved, letting the thunder pass through him without losing his center. She may test you, but she is praying you pass, not by pleasing her, not by agreeing, but by staying true when everything in her dares you to fold. And yes, this is lonely at times. You will be misunderstood. You will be labeled cold. You will be accused of being detached. But what they don't see is the furnace inside, the fire you feed with every hard choice, every temptation resisted, every lie laid down like an offering to the truth. This is not the path of a people-pleaser. This is not the way of the comfort seeker. This is the way of the man who would rather be alone than in a room that demands he pretend to be someone he's not. And she will feel it. In the way you speak with weight. In the way you walk into a room and don't look around to see who's watching. In the way you leave without explaining, without defending, because you have nothing to prove. This isn't arrogance, it's sovereignty, and it terrifies people who have built their lives around the performance of connection instead of the presence of truth. When you no longer flinch at the loss of her attention, when you no longer contort yourself to be understood, when you no longer mistake validation for love, that's when you become free, and ironically, that's when she sees you again. Truly sees you, not as her puppet, not as her project, but as a man. And if she cannot meet you there, you do not descend. You do not dim your fire for the sake of comfort. You do not crawl back into the boy she once controlled. You let her go, with love, with peace, without bitterness, because you finally see it clearly. Some women come into your life not to stay, but to awaken you, not to complete you, but to confront you, to show you every place you are still asleep. And when that lesson is complete, the bond breaks, not because you are weak, but because you are finally strong enough to walk without the training wheels of her approval. You don't need her to heal. You need the space her absence creates, because in that silence you meet the most important person in your life, the man who endured the heartbreak, the man who didn't run back when it got quiet, the man who didn't numb himself with another body or drown in old messages, the man who stayed with his pain long enough to extract the truth buried inside it. And when you meet him, when you look him in the eye, you realize something most men never learn. The pain wasn't punishment, it was purification. It stripped you of illusion. It broke your false identities. It burned down the mask you wore to be liked. And in the ashes of that fire, something ancient emerged, something unshakable, something divine. Your standards rose, your energy changed. Your time became sacred. You stopped entertaining chaos because you finally knew your value. You stopped chasing highs because you were building depth. You stopped fearing her walking away because you understood. A woman leaving you can never take away the man you've become. And that's the shift, from boy to man, from reaction to reason, from addiction to alignment. She doesn't want you to hear this, but you must. You were never meant to be controlled by her emotions. You were meant to anchor her in your presence. She doesn't want you to hear this, but you must. You were not made to orbit around her. You were made to lead your own mission and invite her to join if she's worthy. She doesn't want you to hear this, but you must. The moment you place her above your purpose, you betray them both. And it's not because she doesn't love you. It's because the part of her that wants safety, structure, and strength cannot respect the man who bows to her drama instead of rising in his dignity. You teach her how to treat you, not with words, but with who you become. If you tolerate disrespect, she will test more. If you explain yourself endlessly, she will listen less. If you abandon your path for her comfort, she will resent you, and eventually she'll leave, not because she's evil, but because you failed to be what she couldn't articulate, a man on fire with something deeper than her. Let your soul burn brighter than your desire for her. Let your silence speak louder than your insecurity. Let your mission carry more weight than her moods. And if she cannot follow, you bless her path. You don't beg, you don't chase, you don't collapse, you rise. Because you are no longer a man who fears being alone. You are a man who fears dishonoring the truth of who he is. That is the difference between longing and leadership. between attraction and alignment, between temporary connection and eternal strength. So let her leave if she must, because what remains is far more important. The man who is no longer afraid to stand alone. And in that stillness, in that space where the noise dies and the mask melts, you finally hear it. Not her voice, not her praise, not her criticism, your own. And it says, I remember who I am. I am not here to be chosen. I am here to choose. I am not here to be liked. I am here to be aligned. I am not here to be enough for her. I am here to be everything I was born to be. So if you must walk, walk tall. If you must hurt, hurt with honor. And if you must let go, do it with the quiet power of a man who knows. No woman can complete him, no rejection can break him, and no loss can stop him from becoming the legend he was born to be.